Hi, everybody. I always like to ask a question kind of before we start, and that is, how many of you in the room, you don't have to stand up, maybe a show of hands, were introduced to someone through a personal introduction that ended up being an important connection in your life, whether that was business, romance, something else, some other area of life? So personal connections are really important. And those connections are important, like I said, when it comes to financial success, when it comes to family, and especially when it comes to romance. But one of the challenges on the romance side of things is that the way we make connections today with online dating apps, to be completely honest, it sucks. So if you take a look at the success rate of online dating, it's incredibly poor. We actually have 77% of people who engage as online daters do not actually find a match. What I think is the even more kind of interesting statistic is the fact that people spend more time on online dating apps or online dating websites than they actually spend on dates, which when it comes down to it kind of defeats the purpose. You're spending more time looking at Tinder or on Match.com than you are actually spending time with another human being and getting to know them. So there's always been this kind of time-tested method of helping make introductions. And it's not through algorithms per se. It's through human introductions, through matchmakers. And matchmaking over the centuries has actually worked fairly well. Obviously, it's primarily been in the area of matrimony. But these days, introductions, personal introductions, actually work out fairly well, as we saw from the raise of hands in the room. Our CEO, Manchu, has actually built this app out of that specific need. As a single person, he had a very good friend who made introductions to him all the time for women that he should meet. And she would set up, a dinner date and make these introductions, and he met some amazing people that way. But he started thinking, this really doesn't scale when it comes to this one friend of mine who's making these introductions. So how can I actually scale matchmaking in an effective way? And this is where we have Ponder. And actually, I think this is a video, but we'll skip past. Looks like we're maybe missing some slides. But I'll go ahead and move to Ponder, the app itself. So what we're doing with Ponder is we're actually bringing the human matchmaking process, the human matchmaker into the process. So instead of just swiping left and right on random photos of people that an algorithm is providing to you, we have two sides of the equation working. We have people who are looking for dates and people who are actually interested in playing matchmaker. So the people who are playing matchmaker don't necessarily have to be an individual who's dating. It could be someone who's already in a relationship. It could be someone who's married. But what they're seeing is they're seeing a list of curated individuals that they can then choose to match. And what we found is that there's actually a higher success rate when you bring in the human component into that matchmaking equation. So on the one side, we have the matchmakers. On the other side, we have the people who are looking for dates. And there's an economy built into this. Okay, there we go. We're just in the wrong order here. I'll go ahead and cover this first. To give you some idea of the product, the fact that we're actually out there in market on Android and on iOS, we have 70,000 registered users and we're growing. And what we're seeing on these stats that you can see here, not only good sessions per week, but we're seeing 6 times the average industry rate when it comes to actually creating successful matches where people want to then talk and engage with each other. The other thing is the 60-40 split of people who are actively looking to date, who are single, and people who are playing matchmaker. So it actually works. The gamification is actually driving people to actually play the game, kind of people watch, and match people up. I'll take a little bit of a step back, and this is something we usually don't share in great detail, but I'll just talk about it on when it comes to this presentation. From a product standpoint, there's been a lot of iteration and thought put into this. And one of the things we started with was this idea that you could just match and suggest matches for your own friends. That worked really well. But there's a limited amount of people you can essentially play the game for when you're matching your own friends. So, the idea was, well, what if we just let you match other people in the community? And we open that up. And that was kind of the magic aha moment for us when it came to this type of performance. So you go ahead and you see the people that you want to match, and you go ahead and make those suggestions. The interesting thing that happens with the economy in the app is that if I make a successful match where two people decide they actually want to talk, they each pay $10 into the system, only pay for performance when that match happens. As the person who successfully matched them, I actually earn $10 in that process. So not only have we gamified this and we have that interaction, but there's an actually in-app economy working as well, where people are earning and people are paying in, and the company is also making money in that process. And if the two people get married, I win $1,000. Don't ask about divorce. People have asked that before. We don't take the money back or anything like that. So what we're introducing and why we're bringing blockchain into this and introducing this token, Ponder Gold, is because we think this is a perfect opportunity to introduce this into this already existing app economy. One thing that Ponder Gold will do is it will give users who actually have the gold token within the app special privileges where they'll see higher rated matches first and other privileges when it comes to interacting within the app. But where we want to take this app in the next step is really important component of why Ponder Gold is going to be part of this mix. So we're actually going to be creating matchmaking groups. What this allows someone to do is take a particular interest area they have. Let's say, we always give the example of yogis in Santa Clara, or maybe runners, people who live in a particular geographic area. Create a matchmaking group and actually earn tokens by engaging the best matches into that group. So if I'm looking for someone to run with, if I go into one of these running groups and I have a high rate of success in the match, the person who's running that group sees success as well when it comes to the tokens they earn out of the tokens that are spent going into that group. So we see that in the basic matchmaking, the romantic matchmaking piece of this, we'll probably have about 20% of our active users utilizing tokens. To be able to be part of the actual matchmaking group, you're going to have to use tokens to be part of that, so that'll be 100% utility of tokens within that matchmaking group. As we move forward, we're right now beta testing off the blockchain. That was the first version of the app that's in market. We'll be introducing Ponder Gold. We'll then be moving to these matchmaking groups, opening the platform to other service providers and other markets, which we'll talk about here in a second. Expansion into things like babysitting, recruiting, any other area where a trusted match is required. On the competition side, there's very little competition within matchmaking. It's primarily the traditional dating apps, which we've already talked about from a success standpoint, have a poor track record. But the key here is that you don't have to be dating to be playing and engaging the app. That opens up our overall audience. It's a big market that cross-sections mobile gaming, online dating, and matchmaking, close to a $20 billion market. And as you move into these other areas, recruiting, business, roommates, babysitting, any other trusted match area, that also increases the total available market as well. We have existing investors, we have fantastic partners, and we've got a great team. And one thing I want to say about our team is not only are most, if not all of us, seasoned entrepreneurs who've had other successes in the past, but our chairman, Michael Egan, was actually the CEO of Spark Networks, which had a number of different dating sites underneath it, JDate, Christian Mingle. He has a really good handle on what it takes to be successful in this space and also how to differentiate a company in this space. So one thing I haven't mentioned is that as we move forward, we're going to be launching versions of this app in other markets. Right now, we've executed a joint venture with Plug and Play Ventures to launch in China, which will be one of the next versions coming out. And you can see the rest of the roadmap as we move into other markets that we think are going to be particularly well suited for a matchmaking app. Our public sale actually went live on Valentine's Day. It's good timing. A couple days ago. You can check us out on tokensale.ponderapp.co. And thank you very much.